What is up, barbecue fans? Hopefully you caught the last video I put up. It was my first in a series of barbecue for beginner videos where we smoke the chicken thighs. As a YouTube beginner, I realized I filmed the whole thing in portrait mode. So today I'm bringing you a little bit of bonus content. We're gonna smoke a chuck roast. We're gonna get some great results. If you haven't worked with chuck roast, it's a great cut of beef, very inexpensive, but a little bit stubborn, so it takes a little bit of work. It's also known as poor man's brisket. So we're gonna treat this the exact same way we would a brisket. If you haven't caught my video that I filmed with my good friend Tito on the best brisket ever, I would encourage you to watch that. We're gonna treat this chuck roast the exact same way. I'm gonna show you how we smoke that on an electric smoker and get the best results, so stay tuned.
Before you add any seasoning to that meat, you're gonna give it just a nice little coat of mustard here. Now what the mustard is doing is basically acting as an adhesive so that the seasoning sticks to the meat and kind of helps the sweating process. Now any mustard will do. This isn't going to change the flavor profile here at all. So you can save any of your fancy mustards or even save your French's for sandwiches. Make sure you flip that over and give the other side a good coat of that mustard as well. All right, and just use your barbecue brush to just kind of paint that yellow. At that point with your seasoning, you can add it to a shaker if it makes it easy. But I like to just shake it right onto the meat from the bowl there. It's just as easy. Just give it a nice even coat. It may start to pile up in certain areas where you'll just take your barbecue brush, or you can even use your fingertips if you like. Just kind of smooth that out a little bit. If you set it on top of one of these cooling racks, any excess seasoning is going to fall right off as you flip it over. Again, go ahead and use your fingertips and just kind of even that out just a little bit. We're going to flip it over here and do the same thing to the other side. Just give that a nice even coat. We'll smooth it out here very gently. Your hands are your best kitchen tools. And then you'll have a little left in the bowl. Go on ahead and lift up the sides and get the edges a little bit coated there as well. Again, you want to coat the whole thing as good as possible. And basically, you're going to let this sweat for a while. That's going to draw some of the moisture out of the beef and replace that moisture with the seasoning, really making that nice and flavorful. We'll be right back. We're going to pay some bills.
Hey, are you thinking of moving to Las Vegas and buying a home? Well, I was born here and I want to be one of the first people to tell you that Vegas is a great town and there are a lot of advantages to living here. First, the tax benefits are outstanding as we have no state income tax. You hear that, California? How about you, Arizona? How about you out there on the East Coast? Did you hear that? No state income tax. All of you fans of glam and the nightlife, the lights of the Vegas Strip are intoxicating. And before COVID, Las Vegas boasted of the best shopping and dining in the world. And if you're waiting to see how we bounce back, I can promise you that you haven't seen anything yet. Vegas Strong is far more than just a hashtag, it's a way of life. And we are home to the UFC and have some of the toughest names in team sports with the Las Vegas Raiders and the Golden Knights. Maybe you're the outdoorsy type. Southern Nevada is a place of beauty. We are surrounded by national parks and wildlife preserves. It's nice and warm here, you'll never have to shovel snow again. And if you think the summers are too hot, well, we are right in between the cool waters of Lake Mead and the crisp, clean air of Mount Charleston. So if you're considering a move to Las Vegas, I would love to help you find your new home. Or if you already live here and you'd like to buy or sell, please give me the opportunity to show you what I can do. Call, text, or email, and we will chat soon. And check me out on YouTube. The name of the channel is Cribs and Ribs.
I let this beef sweat for most of the day. But you can also leave these in the refrigerator overnight and get an even better result. But this has been sweating for about 5 or 6 hours. I'm going to go ahead and check the smoker and see if it's ready to go.
So my smoker's going pretty good. Got a nice mix of hickory and mesquite in there. It's time to go ahead and toss in that poor man's brisket. So right around the same time here, I'm going to add my second box of smoker chips. I've smoked my chips for between 1 or 2 hours, which means I need to change the box about every 65 minutes. I keep my timer set every 65 minutes. The chuck roast
We want to smoke for about 4 hours before we wrap it in foil. So you're going to need to set all those timers separately, of course. Go ahead and just lay that right in there. And make sure my lid is on nice and snug. You should be able to see smoke coming from around the sides of that lid there, everybody. That's normal. That's what you want. So to be honest, this is probably the worst part of the process here. Get you some old pot holders, at least 4. As you can see, these are all pretty burnt up and damaged, and that's all from this part of the process here. My 65-minute timer went off, and now it's time to change one of these smoker chip boxes. And they are screeching hot, so I can't tell you enough. You need to be very, very careful. If you could come up with a better method to do this, I would recommend it. There's 2 boxes in here laying right next to each other. One towards the front of the hatch, the other in the back, which is the first one I put in. The first one's getting tossed in that bucket of water here, and I'll move that one in front of the hatch right to the back. All right, so I'm going to take off the whole smoker off the heating element. This is going to give me easy access to the boxes. I take the first one out and toss it in the bucket of water, and then the other one goes right to the back of the unit. Now I can add the new smoker chip box right through that access hatch here. Now all that's left to do after that box cools off is to empty out the burnt up chips and fill it up with fresh ones. So now after about 4 hours, our chuck roast has reached an internal temperature of about 147. So the plan from here is to take it off the smoker, wrap it in foil, and stick it in an oven at 250 degrees until it comes to the magic temperature of 201. That's going to give you the perfect level of doneness and make it nice and juicy. Ooh-wee, look at that nice smoky chuck roast. So it's time to check the temperature on the chuck roast. Spent about 4 hours in the smoker and an hour in the oven. We're looking for that magic temperature of 201. Oh, it smells fantastic. We are right at 201, everybody. That's that magic temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap the foil back up on this and let it rest for about 2 hours before I cut into it. And then we'll test it out and see what we're looking at. Moment of truth. This sucker's rested and ready to go. This is my daughter Carly. She's going to help me taste this. Let's slice into this and see how it looks. It's our so-called burn-in. Nice and tender. All right, let's get a look at this. So it's got a good smoke ring. It's nice and juicy. Not overdone. Go ahead and get a piece of that, Carl. Let's see how it tastes. Cheers.
Oh. Super flavorful.
You can see why it would be called a poor man's brisket. Not quite as good as brisket, but very good. It's nice and smoky. Those beefy flavors have definitely been enhanced by our rub. We're going to slice this up and put it on some sandwiches, a little barbecue sauce. It'll be top notch. So if you'd like to try this recipe or any of my others, please subscribe, like, and ring that bell.